Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth, and this is the first video I am actually filming after returning from the UK for about a 2.5 week vacation. I did pre-film a couple of videos before I left, so I've uploaded a few times while I've been away, but this is actually the first video. So I'm going to do kind of a show and tell, tell you about my trip and the unfortunate aftermath, which I'll get to at the end. But yeah, I just like to kind of do these little trip recaps, show you all the little souvenirs and things that I've picked up, and kind of offer any tips or tricks that I have along the way. So I will have timestamps down below if you'd like to jump ahead to a particular sort of attraction, that kind of thing. We did spend most of our time in London, where my husband's family lives, but we spent about 5 days in Edinburgh and some other parts of Scotland. So I'll be telling you about that as we go. So we did take a red-eye flight out of Dulles on a Wednesday night that arrives into Heathrow Thursday morning around 10 or 11 o'clock. And we generally fly British Airways because it puts you into Terminal 5 at Heathrow, either coming or going, but going is more important. So Terminal 5 is the newest terminal, I believe, at Heathrow, and it's the only one that I've personally experienced, but I think the general consensus is that it's the best terminal. It's a really beautiful space, a lot of great restaurants and that kind of thing. So we fly British Airways. And this time around, we did upgrade a little bit by going Economy Plus instead of just regular economy, in part because it is an overnight flight. The flight time going to London from the States is about 6 hours, coming back. Ideally, it's about 8 hours. We'll get to that at the end, but yeah, it's about 6 hours and it's overnight. So you're not really going to get a great deal of sleep. I think the flight left around 10-ish, 10 or 11. And with the meal service, if you want to do that and everything, you just don't sleep much. The benefit to me going over is that we're just going straight to my in-laws that day, and it's just basically a waste of a day for us. You know, we nap a bit and we don't have to worry about kind of hitting the ground running and going to see any attractions because we've been to London enough times and we're really going to see family and of course some other things as well. But anyway, that's kind of what works for us with like taking time off work and that kind of thing. So I thought I would just quickly mention, if you've never flown Economy Plus on British Airways, there are a lot of travel vloggers and that kind of thing that will show you the whole experience of flying different classes on different airlines and that kind of thing. But I thought I would just quickly show you. So you do get a little menu card that says World Traveler Plus, and it just gives you kind of the options for what you might enjoy on the flight if you do decide to partake. Some people, I think, just ignore the meal service altogether and try to get as much sleep as they can. I guess a couple of the perks, obviously there's more leg space, which was huge for me. I'm about 5'11", so that really helps. There is a footrest, which I don't know, I can kind of take or leave because it does get in the way a little bit. They do offer you champagne as you're taking off, and you do get like a hot towel before dinner. So those were kind of some of the major perks. The seats are a bit wider. You have a bit more room with your seatmate. So it's definitely a more comfortable experience. I'll tell you now that we didn't upgrade for the flight back. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about that flight at the end, but we would have had the option at some point to upgrade. It was going to be about $350 per person. So $700, you know, it just depends on what you feel is worth it. But we decided just to kind of suck it up for that flight. So anyway, you do get a little amenities kit. The blanket is also a bit nicer, I think. So all of this is pretty cheap, but it's a nice thing to include anyway. You get a little eye mask, a pair of socks, which again are pretty cheap, kind of, I guess, polyester feeling, but still. And then you also get a little toothbrush and toothpaste here, which I guess is just helpful to have a spare one on hand. It's a, I guess, non-branded pen that they include. And then I thought this was kind of interesting. They give you a little lip balm from Scaramouche and Fandango, which is not something I've ever heard of before. But they included this little card that says it's been developed specifically to counteract the effects of flying at 35,000 feet. So I thought that was quite interesting. There's some fuzz or whatever on the card from something in there. But yeah, that's what they give you. I mean, again, it's not anything super fancy, but anything beats cattle class, right? So as I said, the day that we got in, we didn't do much. The next day we went to a supermarket called ASDA, which is, I think it's owned by Walmart. It's similar to Walmart. Obviously they have different things. But anyway, we went up there to pick up some snacks and drinks and other things. And the thing about the supermarkets in the UK, which may be a bit surprising depending on where you live in the States, is that they do sell alcohol, like liquor, in the supermarkets. And there's always a much more wide assortment of different gins in the UK. So I like to pick up these little kind of sampler packs of gins. This had plastic in it that I took out to kind of collapse the box for travel. I hold on to boxes and bags, as you'll see, for, I guess, keepsakes or just filming purposes. But yeah, I thought this was really interesting. So this one includes the Gordon's Premium Pink Distilled Gin. So, and this is actually a little plastic bottle. This one is also, I think, plastic. This is the Wild Berry Gin from, I don't know if it's Greenalls or Grenalls. And then there's also the Whitney Neal Gin Raspberry Gin. And this is actually a glass bottle. So yeah, I just like getting a lot of different little samples to try. So this was the pink gin collection. There was also like a just gin collection, I guess. And that one included a mini of Tanqueray, which I actually left at his parents because I can get Tanqueray over here, no problem. So I didn't see the point in kind of bringing it back. So another from Greenalls or Grenalls. This is Blood Orange and Fig, which sounds really tasty. And then this one is Rhubarb and Ginger Gin. I've talked before about how rhubarb is a much more common flavor in the UK, I think because it kind of grows more consistently around the country. In the US, as far as my experience anyway, I know it used to grow in my grandma's backyard, so I associate it with, she's in Wisconsin, so kind of the more northern parts of the country. I also got a 3-pack of Terry's chocolate orange bars. So these are like the Terry's chocolate oranges that you get over here around Christmas. In the UK, they're much more of a kind of year-round candy that's available. Same with Cadbury eggs. Like I think you can pretty much get those year-round versus just around Easter. So anyway, this had 3 kind of individual chocolate bars. I've already eaten 2 of them. It's been kind of a stressful week. So anyway, so I just kept one to show you, but it's like a chocolate bar that has kind of orange-shaped segments to it. I guess kind of like a Hershey's bar, but they're shaped like orange slices instead of little bars that are raised. But anyway, I really like chocolate and orange together. It's one of my favorite combinations. So I got that, and then there's also like a Mediterranean kind of store near them. So I picked up this Dubai chocolate bar. It might actually be a Greek brand. So I haven't tried this yet, but I'm very curious to try it. They had a whole assortment of different kind of Dubai chocolate flavored candies over there. And I think, again, in general, it seems like the Dubai chocolate craze has hit the mainstream UK market a little bit more so than it has in the US yet. I've seen things in the US that are kind of Dubai chocolate flavored, but not to the extent that I saw over there. And also, talking about ASDA, I did pick up this little, I don't know, kind of booklet that you get in checkouts at grocery stores sometimes. And I thought it was just interesting. You can kind of see it in here as well. But they're much more, you see a lot more chocolate eggs over there than chocolate bunnies. So we went over just before Easter, and we were in ASDA just before Easter. So all of the Easter kind of candies and everything were out. But yeah, I just thought I would mention that as just a noteworthy little thing. Talking about things that you see more consistently, they also seem to have gingerbread cookies more year-round than we do. So that's just an aside. So anyways, we went to ASDA. Saturday up there was just kind of a nothing day, just relaxing. Sunday was Easter, so we went to his aunt's house for barbecue and all of that. So Greek barbecue, a lot of lamb and that kind of thing. Greek Easter and like normal Easter were the same this year, so I guess that worked out. So the following Monday, Easter Monday, we went up to Scotland, and we took the train out of King's Cross. And I'll just say now that I will be mentioning Harry Potter a bit in this video, so if you want to skip ahead because you don't support J.K. Rowling or whatever, then I understand, and I fully support anyone who chooses to boycott her or Harry Potter, but it is, I don't know, one of my fandoms, I guess you would say. So King's Cross does have a store at roughly where platform 9 3/4 would be. And I've been there before, but because we were going to Scotland and in the Harry Potter universe, if you will, Hogwarts is in Scotland. So they're basically taking the train from London up to Scotland in the context of the movies or whatever. So I picked up this tote bag. So it says the Harry Potter shop at platform 9 3/4, King's Cross Station, London. They actually have a kind of photo op that you can do where you can pretend to push the trolley into the wall and, you know, they'll sell you the picture or whatever. And I've done that in the past, so I didn't really need to redo it. But again, because we were going up to Scotland, I did want to make a stop at the shop there. There is a pocket on the inside. There used to be a shop at the airport as well in Terminal 5 at Heathrow. It seems like they've closed that now. So I don't know if it was just, I don't know, not doing enough business there or what. But anyway, so I picked up a bottle of butter beer that I believe is exclusive to King's Cross. Bringing back full bottles of things is not really ideal, but because this was like an exclusive, and we've picked up bottles from a couple other places like the store in New York. We've been to the studio tour. So anyway, I decided to kind of continue with that theme. I picked up another bar of the Hufflepuff orange flavored chocolate. I've had this before a couple times, and like I said, I like orange flavored chocolate, so I picked up one of those. And then just a couple other things. You'll see at varying points I am more or less, what's the word, practical with my souvenir choices. Aside from the bottle, the tote bag and like magnets and things are pretty travel friendly in terms of bringing back with you. But anyway, I got an ornament that says platform 9 3/4, King's Cross, London. I thought that was really nice looking. There was a mug that I was looking at, but I decided not to get it. Because we were returning to King's Cross anyway, I thought, you know, if I still wanted it, I could always get it then. But ultimately I did not. And then there's also a little magnet that says the same. And then I got this pen, which looks very similar to the tote bag. So you can see it has the trolley with the owl. And then this says platform 9 3/4. I am very tempted to get the new Lego set that was announced, where it's like 2 bookends, like Lego bookends that form the Hogwarts Express at King's Cross. So we'll see about that. So took the train up. It's about a 4.5 hour train ride up to Edinburgh, and it puts you kind of right into the city center, which is convenient. And we stayed at the Intercontinental, which I would recommend. We really enjoyed it. It was a good location. We had a king bed, and I think the room itself was pretty spacious. The bathroom was kind of cramped, so it seemed like they could have maybe, you know, even those out a little bit and maybe given some of the square footage to the bathroom. So I think that was our main complaint, was just that the bathroom felt a little cramped, but otherwise it was very comfortable. They had a tea kettle in the room that you could use. They had like an espresso machine, robes and everything. So I think it's a 5-star hotel. So it was very nice. And we don't always go the most like luxury travel route, as you might be able to tell. But this was kind of my 40th birthday trip. So we splurged a little bit. And I did want to mention, they had a mini fridge in the room also, which was great. They had complimentary water in the hotel room. They had a complimentary bottle of orange juice. I think there was room service as well, but we didn't get any room service. And they also had a complimentary bottle of Diet Coke. So they kind of had my heart just from that. And it was the kind of thing where if I drank it one day, they would replenish it. So big fan. They also had these biscuits that I just wanted to mention. These are oat crumbles from Island Bakery. Rugged biscuits were chunky rolled oats and silky smooth honey entwined. And they're organic from Isle of Mull, Scotland. There's a little Highland cow on the top there and a man in a kilt. So these are delicious. I've already eaten a few of them. I think they left 2 in the room initially, and like I ate one as soon as we got in because I was starving, and I kind of snuck some into my bag. So anyway, like I said, they were replenished, and we were paying enough for the hotel. So I just brought back, I started stashing them in my suitcase. So I figured I would share these with some of my friends and family so that they can have a little taste of Scotland. They also had these caramel wafer biscuits from Tunnocks, I'm gonna say. These are kind of similar to, I guess, a Kit Kat, a little bit different form factor, but I don't think these were the greatest. Like, I'm not going to miss having them, but anyway, I grabbed what they had out. And again, I'll give them to my friends and family. They had, like I said, espresso pods. They also had some instant hot chocolate from the Galaxy brand. So I just thought I'd give these to my niece. I only grabbed these at the end because I wasn't really drinking them. And then they also had some teas. So an assortment of teas from Shibui, I'm guessing. Award-winning tea from Edinburgh. So it's a Japanese name, but apparently a Scottish family-run tea company. So they had some Scottish breakfast, which I thought was nice, a tropical green, Earl Grey, of course, chamomile and citrus. I might have had one of these one night because I only have one of those. And then more Scottish breakfast and Earl Grey. So I think they gave you 2 bags of each to start with anyway. And then I think the only other little food items I picked up while we were there that I thought were noteworthy, on one of the little excursions we went on, I got some of these Taylor's haggis and cracked black pepper chips. So in case anyone's wondering, I didn't have traditional haggis while we were up there. I don't think most Scots eat haggis that often as a general rule. We did have some vegetarian or vegan haggis items, and then I picked up these chips as well. So I think the actual flavors of haggis, it says haggis and cracked black pepper flavor seasoning, which is sugar, yeast extract powder, rice flour, black pepper, coriander seed, pimento, sea salt, yeast powder, onion powder, natural flavoring, and then citric acid and carob flour. So these are vegan as well. So anyway, I like the flavor of those actually. And I might, I don't know, stick this in my scrapbook. It just had kind of a spiced flavor to me. And then also I took off the label of Iron Brew Extra. So this was a soda bottle that I purchased while we were there. This is the sugar-free version, but Iron Brew is like the most popular soft drink in Scotland. Scotland is apparently the only country where Coke is not the #1 selling soft drink. So if you need that little tidbit of information for a trivia game in the future. But yeah, I just wanted to try it. It was okay. It's not something, again, that I'm going to pine after. To me, it's kind of like a citrus bubblegum is kind of how I would describe it. So it's interesting, but not, again, not something that I'll miss. I was able to finish the bottle, so it's not like it was disgusting. So anyway, so the first night that we checked in, we got into Scotland around, I think, 5 or 6 o'clock, something like that. We went to the relatively new Johnnie Walker Experience Visitor Center, what you want to call it, on Princess Street. So they have like different kind of tours and things that you can do. They have obviously a gift shop, and then they have a rooftop bar restaurant. So we went up there. You have a really great view of Edinburgh Castle, and we basically had dinner. It's not really a full dinner restaurant, I would say. More cocktails and maybe some light bites, but anyway, we made it into dinner, had some drinks, and got a few things at the gift shop. I should mention that I'm only really showing you things that I bought or are for me. My husband bought his own kind of souvenirs, but I think we'd be here all day and he's already kind of put things away. So I'm just kind of showing you what I got. So I got this Keep Walking magnet. So Keep Walking is like a Johnnie Walker slogan apparently. So I don't know. I thought this would be really fun to put on I have like a metal filing cabinet at work where I put different magnets from places I've been, and you know, you can interpret that however you will, but that's probably going to work with me. And then I got another ornament here, which thankfully survived. This was just, I wrapped it in some tissue paper, but it didn't have a box or anything. So this is a little bauble is what they would call it. This says Johnnie Walker Edinburgh. I will say already that both of us want to go back to Edinburgh. So some of these whiskey tours and that kind of thing that we didn't have a chance to do or opted not to do this time, I think we'll try to hopefully do in the future. I'm not actually a huge Scotch fan. I prefer a bourbon or like a rye whiskey, but I generally opt for gin, especially in the summer. I like a Manhattan every now and again, and I can enjoy an old fashioned, but it's not probably going to be my first choice. My husband is much more of a Scotch and bourbon drinker and collector. So anyway, so this is skipping ahead a little bit, but he did end up getting this at the airport on the way out in duty free. So this was, it has some schmutz on it or something. That's, I guess, a nicer look at it. But this was a free bag that you got when you purchased a bottle of Johnnie Walker. So he picked up a bottle of, is it like Ruby Red, something like that. It's a new whiskey that Johnnie Walker is releasing. We saw it in duty free at Dulles going out, but we haven't seen it at any of like the normal liquor stores, ABC stores in Virginia. So I'm not sure how long it will take to kind of permeate into all of the various liquor stores. But anyway, he did pick up that at the airport. And just a note on duty free, I'll talk about this more later, but for a lot of liquors, we found just comparing like the US duty free stores to like Costco tends to be a better or similar price, and you don't have to worry about carting it around with you. So that's something worth considering. So I think that was basically it for our first night in Scotland. The next day we went to Edinburgh Castle, which is the main kind of focal point of the city. It's, you know, high on a hill. Very ancient castle. We did a tour. We also had tea at the castle, which is something you can do. It was in my ranking of teas. Like I said, we've been to London lots of times. I consider myself a bit of a, I don't know, expert might be too strong of a word, but a bit of a tea aficionado, if you will. And I would say it's worth doing. It's not the most expensive tea, and you do have the option of adding either a cocktail or I think champagne or Prosecco to the tea as well. And that's where we had like the vegetarian little haggis bite, which was quite good. So I think part of it is just the kind of bragging rights that you've had tea at a castle. I think now you can also book tea at Buckingham Palace, which, you know, tea at a palace, tea at a castle. But anyway, if you're doing Edinburgh Castle anyway, it's kind of a fun little, experience. So I'll show you all the goodies we got here. So this is kind of the front entrance of the castle. I ended up picking up a lot of guidebooks this time around because they're relatively lightweight and slim, but you get a lot of really good pictures in them, and I don't know, it's just kind of a nice way to reflect on your trip. They also have a lot of the history and things. That's a good picture there, if I don't just get makeup all over it. A lot of the, I don't know, little plaques and things that you may not otherwise take time to read, especially if you're pressed for time. So yeah, picked that one up, and I also picked up a couple of these. They're like translation guides in case you don't speak English. I happened to get two in Polish. I think this one is for the crown jewels, which I believe are like the oldest crown jewels in Europe, maybe. And then this one was, I think, the prisons. And one really cool thing here that you can kind of see, I might have an easier picture somewhere else, but they say that this carving that some of the American prisoners did during the Revolutionary War, I think it's like a boat with a little flag on it, is purportedly one of the earliest depictions of the American flag, Star Spangled Banner, which I thought was pretty cool. So anyway, just grab those. They were free anyway. Some locations make you pay for things like that, but anyway, those were free. Got another tote bag here. There were, I think, 2 or 3 gift shops that we went to, and you're not always sure as you're picking things up what's going to be the best souvenir, so sometimes you get things that, you know, you might not have picked up at the end of the day. So I got this little coin purse from Edinburgh Castle. This is the Edinburgh Castle tweed, which is exclusive to Edinburgh Castle. Harris tweed is, I guess, the most common tweed in Scotland, and there's a lot of things made with it. Harris tweed felt really rough to me, though, when I was looking at different things. This is a much nicer tweed, in my opinion. So anyway, picked that up. I just wanted something that was tweed. It was interesting because we went to the V&A again, as I'll talk about. The last time we were in London, they had the Chanel exhibit, and Chanel had very strong connections to the UK, but in particular, you know, tweed is very popular in Chanel, and so anyway, there were kind of portions of the exhibit that talked about sourcing tweed and everything. So anyway, got another ornament. This one came in a little tin, which hopefully I can pry apart here. Always nice to have something that will travel well or store well. So again, just a pretty little bauble. This is kind of the Edinburgh skyline. You can see, I think that's the Walter Scott Memorial and one of the museums, I believe, and then the castle is kind of on the hill and some of the bridges. So simple but pretty. Also picked up some shortbread. Unfortunately, some of these tins suffered a little bit in my suitcase, and I'll talk about that as well. But yeah, Walker shortbread is pretty much everywhere, especially in Scotland, but I don't know, I just kind of like the tins. And I also got this one. It has the Scottish flag, and then the national symbol or flower is the thistle. This one also suffered a little bit, got a little bit dented, but I don't know. I'll see if I can pop that out later. So Edinburgh does have their kind of custom-made spirits. So they do have an Edinburgh Castle gin. And I like that there were a lot of like this size bottles. So you didn't have like a mini bottle like this, which is basically one serving. This is 200 centiliters and this is 5 centiliters. So quite a bit more, but still not like the full 750 milliliters. It's a little confusing for me to talk about because obviously we work in ounces in the US, but anyway, it's smaller than your kind of normal full size. So anyway, it makes it a lot easier for travel, gives you a little taste of it. And this is made for them by the Edinburgh Gin Distillery, which I think you can visit. Hendrick's doesn't have any kind of visitor facilities, and they're also not in Edinburgh, but Edinburgh Gin, I think you can tour if you are so inclined. That's something I might like to do in the future, but it wasn't super high priority. And they also have a Scotch whiskey. This is 10 years. And I just got this from my brother. My husband got like kind of that larger size of it. But I got this, and I also got him, I don't know, this little whiskey toddy kit. It says 4 blended sugar and spice sachets to add to water and whiskey to make traditional whiskey toddy. So I thought that would just be a cute little gift for him. I think one of my kind of toxic traits is that I can't help but buy souvenirs for people, even if they don't return the favor. So anyway, gifting is my love language, and that's just how it is. I also got this scarf. A lot of wool products in Scotland, obviously. I think Scotland actually has, is it like 5 sheep for every person? Something like that. There's a lot of sheep. You see lots and lots of sheep. Very few Highland cows, even in the Highlands, I'll mention. So that was a bit of a disappointment. If you really want to see a Highland cow, you kind of have to seek it out. Otherwise, you might be a little disappointed. I think there's a farm not too far from me in Virginia where you can actually get up close and personal with a Highland cow, which is probably going to be easier for me anyway than going to Scotland, but anyway. So this is, again, from Historic Scotland Retail, made in Scotland. So this is kind of like their national parks equivalent, I guess. So this is from the Corrie collection. Maybe it's Coorie. A Scottish word meaning to snuggle or cuddle, which is great for a scarf. And this is fine wool. It says, Lochcairn of Scotland, proudly made in Scotland by skilled craftsmen and women who design, dye, warp, weave, mend, and tailor our Scottish tartans and textiles, a truly global brand since 1892. So I'd have to double check, but I think Lochcairn made some of the scarves and things for the Harry Potter films. I think if you go to the Harry Potter website, you can buy kind of the full traditional wool sweaters and things. And this is 100% pure wool. It's very, very fine, very lightweight, and I like the colors. So I'm going to have to keep things moving if I'm going to get this done in a reasonable time. So I also got, if you're not new here, you may know I am a big lover of miniature things, and I really don't know what the point of this is, but they have this tiny, tiny bottle collection of Edinburgh whiskeys. I mean, if you're a doll collector or anything like that, maybe keep your eyes peeled for these. So I don't know, they weren't too expensive, so I just, if it'll focus, I couldn't resist. Smallest bottle of Scotch whiskey in the world, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. So there's that. Let's see, I got some chocolate, also from the Coorie collection, I'm guessing. This is, I think it's Cranachan chocolate. So it says, based on the traditional Scottish dessert made with cream, oats, whiskey, and raspberry. Handmade in Edinburgh. We did have Cranachan. I think I actually had it at the Johnnie Walker restaurant. And it was quite good. I tried making it once at home, I don't know, a couple years ago or whatever, and it was way too strong, so I don't know what they did. If I recall, it's basically where you soak oats in scotch, and then you kind of drain them, and then you combine it with like cream and raspberries. So I think it has potential, but whatever I did wasn't right. So anyway, also got a bar of chocolate from Edinburgh Castle. This is the dark chocolate with Scottish whiskey, which sounded intriguing. I got this little thistle ornament, like I said, the national symbol of Scotland, and I do really like green and purple as a combination. So there's that, and then I also got this for my brother. I actually got 2 of them. For some reason, they had these little Lego bricks with Edinburgh Castle printed on them. Not sure why, but we have that. So again, not too expensive, but just, I don't know, a little curiosity. I got a magnet for the Royal Mile, which is the street, like the Old Town street leading up to the castle. So if you're unfamiliar, Edinburgh is kind of divided into the Old Town and the New Town. The Old Town is what's kind of on the hill with the castle, kind of more of the like medieval city. And then in the, I want to say 18th century, 1700s, somewhere in there, they built the New Town, which is like down the hill where Princess Street is and everything. And it's kind of this like Georgian, very kind of symmetrical, laid out kind of city. And I think they call Edinburgh like the Athens of the West, maybe, or it's like a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So really, really great city. I don't know if I would say I like it better than London. I would say it's a much smaller city. I can see how London can feel a bit overwhelming because it's so large, especially if you're not used to a city. So Edinburgh, I think, has that like city feel to it, but it's a lot more kind of manageable. They still have a lot of great restaurants and shops and all of that, but it's not quite so sprawling as London. Also got this little thistle. I don't know if you're meant to drink out of this or what, but it's a little crystal thistle, little shot glass kind of. I'd probably just use this to put, I don't know, earrings or something in, but yeah, I thought that was pretty. This is from Royal Scot Crystal. All right, so I think we can move on from the castle. So next to the castle, there's what they call, I don't know, it's the Tartan weaving mill. They have, I think, the best assortment of especially wool scarves, if you're into that. And they have like a place downstairs where you can order kilt, if that's what you're into. It's a huge, huge gift shop. If you just want kind of a one-stop shop, I think they say it's like the largest gift shop in Scotland or something. It's huge. But anyway, it's right next to the castle. Can't miss it. So I bought some cashmere, as you do. I think I got a couple scarves. So this one I think I might give to my mom. I thought she would like these colors. And it has what the like design is supposed to be. So this is the Buchanan Mixed Sapphire Scarf, 100% cashmere. The thing about the tartans, though, is if you have seen Outlander, you may know that after the Battle of Culloden, I think it is, in around the 1740s, the British Crown took a lot of steps to basically kill Highland culture, including speaking Gaelic and wearing kilts and that kind of thing. So a lot of those kind of traditional things died off. And even during that time, I don't think the different clans or whatever really had specific tartans that were attributed to them. I think it was a much more like practical type thing where people just did what was easy and accessible. So it wasn't until like the Victorian time, like in the mid 19th century, I think, where there was this kind of resurgence of interest in Scottish culture, and Queen Victoria was very interested in Scotland. I think that's when Balmoral became a royal property, somewhere in there. And I think there was a movie about Queen Victoria in Scotland. Anyway, it was around that time where I think there were a couple guys, I'd have to look up the details to get it right because it was told to me. But yeah, a couple guys had this brilliant idea of just kind of basically assigning different tartan patterns to different clans. And they just put it into a book and like brought it down to London and kind of said, this is it. This is kind of the encyclopedia of tartans. So all that to say, if you happen to have Scottish heritage and you don't like the tartan that belongs to you, or even if you're not Scottish, just wear whatever you like. Wear whatever design you like. You're not bound to a particular pattern. You know, my last name is Scottish in origin, and the different tartans that have been assigned to it, I'm not a big fan of all of them. So just wear what you like. And there are still new tartans being added to like the official Scottish Register of Tartans. There was one just recently that I would have liked to have gotten, which was like a recognition of the persecution of women as witches, starting in the 18th century, I think, or maybe 17th century. It might have started with King James. But anyway, it has like black and gray for kind of the ashes, and like a line of red for blood and everything. So yeah, new tartans are still being invented. So anyway, I got this skinnier scarf for my dad. I think a skinnier scarf is more masculine, but maybe I'm wrong. This one is apparently Mackenzie. So there's that. Speaking of new tartan patterns, I wanted to get this one because it was the World Peace tartan. I just got a skinny one again. Not my favorite design, but again, I just kind of wanted to get it because it's very specific. And they had various deals, like buy two for a deal or whatever. So this one I got for myself. It's quite similar to the one I think I'll give my mom. Just a little bit different, kind of similar colors. But this one is the Carnival Check Astral. So just kind of random design there. Anyway, my family will be good and warm. I got this little tin of shortbread, I think it is, from Campbell's is the brand. It has a cat playing a bagpipe, so I thought my niece would get a kick out of that. Also picked up, again, I got this mostly for the tin, again, the Scottish flag and some thistles. I think this one survived a little bit better. This has fudge in it, vanilla fudge instead of shortbread. This I got for my dad. He's a big train fan, and this is the Glenfinnan Viaduct, which I'll talk about a little bit more. This is from the brand Stewart's, and this is also fudge. I'm trying to kind of get an even distribution of things for people. I also got this silver necklace for myself. I think I need to get a new chain for it. This is from Hamilton and Young. They basically have these at every gift shop. So you're kind of, I guess, whatever assortment you want. Is that the right way around? I think it is. But I think it's just a silver thistle with an amethyst in the middle. The chain is a bit too short for what I like though. So again, I'll probably just have to find a new chain. So yeah, so we did the castle, and that was kind of our main event for that day. We had two kind of excursions that we did. One was like a 12-hour like Highland trip. So it took off from Edinburgh like 8 a.m. Didn't get back till 8 p.m. So that was a really long day, but it was really worth doing in my opinion. And that was through Discover Scotland Tours. I'll have links and everything down below. And we had a fantastic guide. I think his name was Jamie. Pretty much didn't stop talking the entire trip, you know, kept giving us stories and trivia and all that kind of thing. So really fantastic, and we stopped at a few places on that particular day, and they were really good too about like stopping at good intervals, you know, for restrooms and to get coffee or whatever. And it was like a 13 passenger or something, like Mercedes Sprinter van, I think they're called. So really recommend them. We also did another tour the next day with a company called Rabbi's, which was also good. If you're deciding between the two, I might recommend Discover Scotland over Rabbi's, just because I think Discover Scotland is a smaller family-run company, and it just had a little bit more of kind of a personal touch to it. But anyway, so on that particular day, we went to Glencoe, which is part of the scenery that you see in Skyfall, the James Bond movie. So, all right, so where was I? I had to take a short break there. But yeah, I was talking about Glencoe, I believe, and really beautiful natural history area. I highly recommend checking it out. So, got the guidebook again, and also on that same trip, we went to Glenfinnan, which is where the viaduct is, that you can see there. That's where you see the, I think it's called like the Jacobite or Jacobean steam train, which is what they used as kind of the basis for the Hogwarts Express. I think it runs from like April through October maybe, so just look it up before you go. And you can actually, I think, book a ticket on it if you wanted to do that. So that was kind of the big draw there. And that was kind of a combination of Harry Potter attractions. I mean, even if you're not into Harry Potter, it's still really cool. But on the other side of this road that you stopped at, they had Loch Shiel, which is the basis for, I think, the Black Lake in Harry Potter, and that's where they have this monument. So a lot of like Jacobean history. So the Jacobites were the Scottish supporters of like the Catholic claim to the British throne. So Bonnie, Prince Charlie, all of that. And again, if you're a fan of Outlander, you might already be aware of some of that. And I just got some kind of basic souvenirs, I guess you would say. Got some of these ornaments. So this wooden ornament, it says Glencoe, 3 sisters, 3 like mountain peaks, bit of tartan on the background. This one of the Glenfinnan viaduct. Also plenty of magnets. A thistle I thought was pretty. Glencoe, and then Glenfinnan. So again, these are the kind of national park type equivalent. They had some wooden postcards, which I thought were kind of cool. This one gives you some information about Glencoe. And then I got 2 of the Glenfinnan viaduct. I don't plan to send these, but I suppose you could if you wanted to. I thought I might actually frame some of them, but that is the Glenfinnan viaduct. And I got one for my dad as well, that he just might find it interesting. More magnets. So this one is a quote from Robert Burns: "My heart's in the Highlands wherever I go." Ironically, my family background is closer to Glasgow, which is like the lowlands of Scotland. So I'm not really a Highlander, but anyway, this random heart ornament of Scotland, another Glenfinnan viaduct magnet, and I also got this scarf. I think it was on sale with the thistle design and the bee. I thought it was pretty. I like to wear scarves at work a lot just because I like, I don't know, a little bit of extra warmth sometimes in the office. And this is silk, I believe, and it was only, I think, 10 pounds. So yeah, I thought this would be a cute little accessory. Yeah, 100% silk. So I thought not bad for 10 pounds. Oh, one more magnet. Again, this one, I think I got one of the locations. I like the other one better, but that's the same sentiment. So those were the kind of 2 main attractions. And like I said, the guide did a great job of pointing out different landmarks that we kind of drove past, like the So the Kelpies, like those big horse head statues, we kind of drove past. We drove past Stirling Castle, which is another castle very important in Scottish history. So things like that. We also stopped at Pitlochry, maybe. The thing about Scottish words is that they're never really pronounced the way you think they're going to be. Anyway, this was, again, just a kind of quick little break for stretching your legs, using the restroom. But anyway, I just picked that up probably at one of the visitor centers or whatever. So that was the long day. So it took a while to do that whole loop, but it didn't feel like a super long day because, like I said, the guide was really great. The next day we had a shorter little excursion. It was Rosslyn Chapel and some of the border towns. So the border between Scotland and England. And that was only about a 7-hour trip, so a little bit more comfortable. And Rosslyn Chapel was the major draw. So a lot of our sightseeing was kind of centered around different movie locations. As it happens, Rosslyn Chapel was famously a key point in the Da Vinci Code. It is an actual place, Rosslyn Chapel. It doesn't look quite the same as it does in the movie, but it's still a really cool place to see. And understandably, they got a huge boost in tourism after the publication of Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code. So they have a really great visitor center, which you can see there. It has a little cafe and restrooms. Again, a shop, obviously. That is what the interior looks like. You can't take pictures inside. It's an active church, I guess. So I kind of, again, picked this up, and I want to show you, if I can, if it's in here. They call where the crypt or the vault is, like the Hollywood circle, like whatever little emblem the movie producers put on there. It left a little bit of a circle, but I don't know if it's gonna be in here. I can maybe insert a picture somewhere, but anyway, very, very close to Edinburgh. Like, you could probably just take a taxi if you wanted to. You wouldn't necessarily have to take like a dedicated tour if that's all you wanted to see. But we saw some other things that were kind of nice. I could have done with just the taxi out to Rosslyn, but my husband enjoyed some of the other things that we did. You went to this like vista that Walter Scott apparently liked, and there was like a William Wallace statue, that kind of thing. Anyway, back to Rosslyn. So like I said, really, really nice done. They have their own tissue paper. And let's see, I picked up, I don't know, just another little booklet. This was a children's guide. Just grabbed that. And then I got a few things here. So they have lots of like Green Man statues. It was like a kind of ancient symbol of, like, I think, fertility and things that were incorporated into a lot of the chapel. So I've got this little Green Man ornament. And there's also this saying, I think in Latin maybe, but they had some tea towels that say it. So it says, "Wine is strong, the king is stronger, women are stronger still, but truth conquers all." So I really like that, obviously. And this, I think, was a set of 2 tea towels with like green on them. And then I think this is maybe the same, but with like burgundy font. And they have a nice ribbon and everything that was tied up around these towels. So tea towels are a great thing to collect when you go to the UK because they have them at basically every tourist shop that you go into. Obviously very easy to pack, very lightweight. And my plan is to eventually get a frame or several frames where I can put the tea towels and maybe kind of rotate them in and out depending on my mood or whatever. So anyway, that's the plan, but I collect tea towels. Also, this magnet says "Truth Conquers All." I plan to take that to work. I got my sister-in-law these coasters that say the same as what I just told you here. I might include a tea towel with that. And then these were on sale, apparently, but also magnets, but just the kind of kind that you can move around. So obviously I liked that little section of the gift shop. One other thing I forgot to mention, I did also get my niece a stuffed Highland cow. I think this was when we were in the Highlands, but yeah, little Highland cow, very cute, very soft. Like I said, you don't necessarily see that many Highland cows in the Highlands, but it is what it is. We also went to M&S, Marks and Spencer's. I like how they do their bags to kind of replicate the flags of the various countries. So Scotland has the Scottish flag with blueberries, blackberries, and oats. I think they also have ones for Ireland, Wales, and England. So I just got a couple of things here. I got a couple boxes of shortbread to bring into the office. I always like to treat my coworkers if I can. And then I thought this was really cool. So I think yesterday we had VE Day. So Victory in Europe Day, and I thought my dad would really enjoy this. So some Scottish shortbread for the 80th anniversary of VE Day in a nice tin. Also went to Starbucks, of course, and this is one area where I'm not the most practical. So I got the You Are Here mugs for Scotland. I think they did also have these at the Heathrow Airport in case there's a cow, the thistle, castle, mountains, golf, bagpipes, the train, whiskey, I'm guessing. In case you don't get a chance or you forget, you may be able to find it there. And your Sephora app will work to pay for things in the UK at Starbucks stores. This is another version of that, but small. I thought this was supposed to have a little, what do you call it? Like thread to it. I thought this was supposed to be an ornament, but maybe not. So obviously a much more kind of space-saving thing to purchase. And then I also got the one for Edinburgh. So I think I like the general one for Scotland better, but just to show you, that's the Walter Scott Memorial, bridges, the castle. Not sure what those are supposed to be. Maybe the new town. And that might be, is it Holyrood? Holyrood? I don't know. We didn't get a chance to go there, so that's something I'd like to do in the future. Oh, the thing about the bridges. So we came back on one of the bridges, I think the day we were coming back from the Highlands. And it was really interesting because, like, side by side, you have a 19th century bridge, a 20th century bridge, and a 21st century bridge. So it's just really interesting kind of seeing the developments in the architecture and, yeah, just really interesting. So I think that's it for Scotland, if you can believe it. Scotland was new, so the souvenirs were more interesting. What I got in London was kind of tame in comparison, thankfully. So as I mentioned, we did go back to the V&A and have the bag here to prove it. We like to get my mother-in-law a membership to the V&A as like her Christmas present. And we just opt for like the additional card because it's more expensive but not like double the price, so we just go ahead and do that. Again, I got another guidebook just to have, I don't know, reference, that kind of thing. And then we did go to the Cartier exhibit, which is the new thing. My husband actually bought this book. And this is the type of coffee table book that is not the most travel friendly, but he bought this. He bought one for me and one for his mom. And oops, what do I have in here? Sometimes I stuff little pieces of paper and things to keep them safe. But anyway, really beautiful exhibit. Visually, I mean, looking at diamonds and gemstones for like an hour or two is fun. Makes you think a lot about wealth inequality, I'll just say that. But anyway, lots of cool things. The one thing I did want to point out is that while we were over there, I think Lisa Eldridge actually released her High Society lipstick, and they did have Grace Kelly's, I think, diamond engagement ring when she was engaged to Prince Rainier, and oh, I don't know if this was in the collection, but that was the tiara, Cartier tiara that Kate Middleton wore. I don't recall seeing that. I'm not sure how long the exhibit is on. Usually they're a couple months, maybe. Like I said, we saw the Chanel exhibit. The Chanel exhibit was interesting because they had some beauty things. Yeah, so here is Grace Kelly's engagement ring that she wore in High Society. So I thought about purchasing High Society, the lipstick, obviously, as kind of a souvenir of, I guess, the exhibit, but it wasn't in any of the stores over there. So I might order it from Lisa Eldridge at some point. Ordering things from the UK is becoming a little bit more interesting, as we'll talk about with like the tariff situation. While we were over there, Space NK announced that they weren't going to ship to the US because of the tariff situation. Lisa Eldridge currently just has something on her website about things taking longer. So I kind of took advantage of a few things while we were over there for that reason. So anyway, went to the V&A on Sunday. On the Monday, we went to the Bridgerton Tea at the Lanesborough Hotel near Hyde Park. My husband said, and he's not a Bridgerton fan, but he said it was like one of the best teas we've ever been to. There is kind of a spectrum of teas, and sometimes, you know, you get what you pay for. You don't have to pay a lot of money to have a good tea. Like we went back to the Wolseley, which is right next to the Ritz on Piccadilly. That's one of the best values, I would say, as far as like a really good, solid afternoon tea. The thing about going to some of these more luxury hotels for tea is that you do get like a little bit more, I guess, attention to detail and that kind of thing. They'll often offer multiple pots of tea. You can keep ordering tea as much as you want. And they'll refill your sandwiches as well. So if you have a large appetite or you just want more sandwiches, then generally you can get more. Sometimes I think they even refill the pastries, but more often than not, it's like the sandwiches. And my husband and I also judge afternoon teas based on like the freshness of the sandwiches and if the scones are warm, all that kind of thing. So anyway, went to Lanesborough, really enjoyed it. Stole the menus. For the price, you know, I don't know if they reuse menus anyway because, you know, these are pretty immaculate. Sometimes you sit down to a tea, like the tea at Edinburgh Castle, for example. I think the menus might have had a few marks on them from previous guests. So, yeah, had the Bridgerton tea, and we had the cocktail called Friends to Lovers, which had little feathers in them, which I kept. This little cotton, it's not really a napkin, but this was on top of the sandwiches. So nabbed that. And then this I did pay for. So they have their own custom blend of tea. Yeah, the Bridgerton Blend Afternoon Tea. And it was really good, basically. So they did have it, I saw, available for purchase on the website. Unfortunately, they did not have it in the tin available, so I just got it in this kind of plastic bag that they made up for me. You can see it has like rose petals and things in there. It smells really good. But anyway, yeah, they gave me this, and they gave me these kind of sachets to put the tea into. I'd say that's kind of a mark of a better tea, is if they use loose leaf tea. And sometimes, like at the Wolseley, you have like the little tea strainer that you pour the tea through to catch the tea leaves. Sometimes they may like custom make their own little sachets. This may be better even, although you don't get the same little activity, I guess, of pouring the tea. But this will prevent any like finer tea leaves from getting into your cup. So anyway, they included that for me, and you know, put it in a nice bag. I don't know why you would want a bag this size, but anyway. And then I also did get a pen. So I think I got my money's worth out of that particular tea. But yeah, it was really good. I encourage you to try it out. Like I said, we had tea at the Mandarin Oriental, was another good one. We still need to do the Ritz and the Savoy. My husband hasn't wanted to pack a jacket, so that's kind of held us back from the Ritz, but hopefully one day. Alrighty, so I did get a couple things from Selfridges. I did, buy online, pick up in store. You can order from Selfridges if you're in the US, but I haven't wanted to pay for their global shipping or whatever options. So anyway, I finally got my hands on the Make Me Blush in Nocturnal Nude, which is what I'm wearing today. And I don't want to make this video any longer by swatching things. But yeah, I think I have 3 shades in this now, and partly it was just the kind of not being able to get it over here that made me want to get it. So I picked up Nocturnal Nude, and I also picked up the new Hyper Luminize, which I don't think is available over here yet. And I'm also wearing this on my cheeks. That is what that looks like. I haven't been into highlighters as much lately, but when I am, I do gravitate towards like a whiter highlight like that. So I wanted to pick these up. So the next day we went to Covent Garden, and we did a bourbon tasting actually at this Buffalo Trace, I forget what they call it, like experience. I did really enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, I will drink bourbon from time to time, but I'm not like a huge bourbon drinker. So I think of the whole trip, that's the only day where I felt hungover, which wasn't great, but anyway, it was fun. So yeah, if you're into Buffalo Trace, I do recommend checking them out. They have an even larger facility, I think, in Kentucky, obviously, but yeah, Buffalo Trace Distillery, London is what it is. But if you happen to be in London, it may be easy to get to relatively. So yeah, did the tasting, got a pen. My husband got a few things as well. Ironically, it's easier for him to purchase Buffalo Trace in London than it is in the States. I think they bottle things specifically for the London market, and it's just more readily available. They have it in like the ASDA stores, like I mentioned. And obviously you can buy it at the distillery location in Covent Garden. They don't actually distill anything on site. But anyway, he usually picks up a bottle or 2 while we're over there. Also in Covent Garden, they have the London Glossier store. So I went back because I don't really need any Glossier makeup products at the moment, but I like their merch. And I think last time I showed you, I got a mug. I didn't get the umbrella, and unfortunately they were out of stock of the umbrella this time around. So I only got their new little passport, which is basically just like a way to collect all their stickers. I guess they have a place for you to put your photo if you want to, but I just stuck the kind of London Glossier, oops, it'll fall out, the London Glossier stickers. That look like so. So it's this kind of Regency building, I think it is. Georgian, maybe. So anyway, I just picked this up. I've been to, where else have I been? I've been to the one in DC. I don't think I bothered to go to the Glossier stores in Chicago or Philly when we were there, but maybe now that they're doing this kind of, collect them all type thing, I might make a point to do that next time. So yeah, so this is just the little passport, and I think you get stickers whenever you buy something from the boutiques. This is the actual passport holder I just pulled out. So I suppose I could put this inside my passport holder book. I haven't been using this as an actual passport holder, but anyway, just thought I would mention that. I did briefly walk into the new or relocated Charlotte Tilbury store. They kind of moved down to the corner, and I think it's a lot larger now. I didn't end up purchasing anything from the store though. So let's talk about Liberty. Liberty. Okay, so Liberty is this really great department store in London, very historic, and I got some makeup I'll show you in a moment, but yeah, I got another Liberty tea towel that just kind of outlines kind of some of the history. and the design features of the store. Didn't spend a lot of time in there because, you know, we've been before. But yeah, got that. Another tea towel to add to the collection. I also got this mug, which they wrapped in bubble wrap for me, which was really nice. It came in a box as well. So this is an Emma Bridgewater mug here. And it is actually the, what is it, 150th anniversary of the store. So it was founded in 1875. So they have this really beautiful purple and gold foil mug that I wanted to pick up. So I got that as kind of a keepsake. And then I got a few things that I ordered online for pickup. I got 3 Lisa Eldridge palettes. So I got 2 that I didn't have before, and in part this is due to the tariff situation and not really knowing how things are going to shake out. So I just got the ones I didn't have just to kind of future-proof my collection, if you will. So this is Sorcery. I think I'd had one of these shades, is it Mercurial, as a single, which is great. So I got that one, and then I also got, is it Muse, I think it is? So this is the palette, in large part that she used for, she did a makeup look using the new High Society lipstick shade. This one also has a shade called Tea Room, which I really love. And again, I think I might have had 1 or 2 of these shades that I purchased as a single when she first launched, just to get a sense of all of the different formulas. But yeah, I hadn't purchased this one until now. So that is Muse. And then I actually repurchased Vega, which is my favorite eyeshadow palette, period. So I had purchased Vega, and that's what I'm wearing on my eyes, actually. I purchased Vega when it first launched, so it's now around 2 years old. These have a 24-month shelf life. So I wanted to get a fresher one, and mine has kind of seen some dings along the way. But that is what it looks like in all its glory. So basically, and this is what I do for work most days, I put this shade in the crease, that shade, the brown shade, in the outer corner, and then I put, I think it's this one kind of all over the lid, and then this bottom shade in the center. So just easy, you know, beautiful eye look. So love, love, love that palette. It doesn't hurt that Vega is the star at the center of the movie Contact, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
All right, do you have a source location yet?
We put it right smack in the middle. Vega.
Really, really love that. And if I can find it on my desk here, which is now completely covered. So this is actually, I think, the only eyeshadow I traveled with. So what I did, to be a little gentle with this, I basically took the 4 shades I just mentioned from Vega in this row. I know I took some from like the Betty palette, maybe Fawn. I don't know, I have them on the back, but I might talk about this in a little bit more detail. As you can see, there's a little bit of debris here. Some of these shades I had to kind of press back in once I took this out of my suitcase, which made me doubly glad that I did repurchase Vega. Betty was limited edition, so you can't get it anymore. I did do a picture before I left of where all the shades were from, so I'll pop that up on screen for you. But again, I don't want to kind of belabor the point too much. My number 1 recommendation is to separate out any powder products from like liquids and creams that you have to check, and put the powder products in your carry-on, because one of the unfortunate things that happened this time around, also happened the last time I went to London, was my checked bag, for whatever reason, British Airways just decided to leave it in London and put it on a second flight later on. So we got back late Saturday night. I didn't get my suitcase until Monday, like midday Monday. So who knows what this went through, basically. But yeah, happy to have a new Vega. I'll also show you, this is what I did with my powders. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury half. That's the airbrush, normal airbrush powder that I just popped out. And then I just put a few Sydney Grace matte shades in here just in case I felt like I needed them. I didn't end up using them at all, but really I could have just done with those 4 shades from Lisa Eldridge. But yeah, you definitely want to check those separately. I did also get the Jones Road Just Enough Tinted Moisturizer, which is what I'm wearing today. I will say it's really a good idea to check the prices of any brands that you want to buy abroad, just to see if it's cheaper in the US with the conversion. Sometimes things might be like the same number. So I think this might be $44 and it's 44 pounds. With the exchange rate, that ends up being more expensive. Some things are more equivalent. The numbers are different according to like the exchange rate, or you know, depending on where the brand is based, it might be cheaper over there. So really a good idea to check. The reason I decided to get this in London, however, is Liberty had a really great gift with purchase. So I decided to add that to my cart to kind of put me over the edge. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a leak in here, I think. So the bag is really great. So you can actually purchase these like Liberty's bags, I think this is one that's available for sale, but Liberty is known for its like traditional patterns. You know, they go back 150 years. So they have all these archives. Lisa Eldridge did a makeup bag with Liberty fabric, so it's you know, a thing. I don't think I have time to go into this. I'll try to find a reel or something that goes through everything. I'll just highlight, I think what leaked was there's this shampoo from Head and Hair, Heel shampoo. So unfortunately, that leaked, and I'll have to kind of go through here to figure out what's kind of gotten stuff on it. This was a Wilhelm Parfumery little perfume sample. So I don't think anything is like totally destroyed in here. It just needs a little bit of cleaning off. I was really excited. One of the reasons I wanted to get this was it has the travel size of one of the Liberty perfumes in Wild Rosinda, I think it is. I really wish they would do like a sampler pack like this one from Lake and Sky of all of the Liberty fragrances. I would definitely pick that up. They have some like trios of travel sizes, but that's kind of expensive. And yeah, these aren't cheap, so I never wanted to like buy a lot of them. But yeah, that was a major draw. I think there's like a retinol product in here from Caroline Hirons brand, Skin Rocks. Oh, I also bought this. I forgot. I threw some things in here. This is the Lisa Eldridge Balm Embrace in Épanoui, which is the kind of French idea of like coming into your own, which I thought was kind of fitting for my 40th. I'll just throw this on because I think I had the Merit lip liner in Mayfair on earlier, but I think that's worn off. So very easy, kind of comfortable. I don't know that this was going to be a must-have to purchase if, you know, I wasn't trying to get this very generous gift with purchase. I think this is worth like 300 pounds or something. But anyway, I'm going to go through that when I can be a little bit more careful about the spilling issue. Another gin I'll quickly mention. I got another smaller bottle of this Cassis gin from Fortnum Mason. I've talked about Fortnum Mason before. It's also on Piccadilly and close to the Ritz and the Wolseley, so highly recommend going there. Great place to buy gifts for people, like nice kind of gourmet gifts and that kind of thing. So we packed a lot into this trip. We also made it to Greenwich. So there was a day where we didn't have anything planned. Unfortunately, it happened to be like the hottest day of the year, and AC doesn't really exist in the UK. So I was like, yeah, let's go to Greenwich. It's by the water. It'll be nice and breezy. And I didn't anticipate that the observatory, where there's the Prime Meridian line, was at the top of a hill. I mean, I should have known, but anyway, that was a very exhausting, hot day. So anyway, I'll just quickly show you, I got this little book here, the story of the Greenwich Meridian, which is really interesting. My husband and I are both into like astronomy and things as well. And he told me there's a movie or TV series, maybe it's a mini series, with Jeremy Irons from the early 2000s called Longitude, which sounds really interesting and definitely up my alley, so I'll have to investigate. This little maritime Greenwich book. I would like to go back to Greenwich when I think I have a little bit more time. We didn't go to the Maritime Museum at all, even though they had a pirates exhibit that sounded really cool. There's the Queen's House, which I think was briefly a royal residence, but now it's more of an art gallery. They have some famous portraits, like this one of Queen Elizabeth that I'll talk about in a minute. They have the old Royal Naval College, which is a really beautiful area. Yeah, the area is much more, it's kind of like, I guess, downtown DC, like the mall area where it's just all kind of tourist attractions, like historic things. The Royal Observatory, like I mentioned, I think the only planetarium in London is up there. The National Maritime Museum, like I mentioned. Oh, the Cutty Sark, which we didn't go on because it's kind of too expensive to bother with, really. It was like 20 pounds, and I just didn't feel the need. But anyway, this was built in 1869 and now the world's sole surviving tea clipper, which I thought was interesting. So yeah, so there's definitely a lot to see there. They have a cute little town as well with plenty of little restaurants and things. So you could definitely spend a day there. It was a little bit of a headache getting there and back, but anyway, we managed to do that. Another Royal Observatory guide, the Queen's House. My husband's in the kitchen because it's almost 11 o'clock and I need to hurry up. The Armada portrait, this was on sale. I did take an art history course in college, so I thought, I don't know, I would enjoy reading this. And then I did get another tea towel. It was actually the 350th anniversary, I guess, of the Royal Observatory. So another kind of cool milestone that we happened to luck into. Lots of stars and then coming down to the bottom. And then just some other little trinkets in here. So I thought this was a cool ornament, the Prime Meridian. So 00. I did stand on it, got some photos, had to avoid some of the other tourists that were trying to get the perfect Instagram photo, but anyway, this magnet as well, and then that one. So I think that is it, aside from duty free. So I did get another duty-free exclusive Hendrick's gin. As I said, a lot of the duty-free bottles are the full size, large ones. This is 1 liter, which is not always what you want to carry. But anyway, this one, it says, like the canvas of colors that light up the sky at sunset, this limited release shines bright with bursts of warm citrus and harmonious spices, radiant with tonic and a slice of cucumber. So I think I saw this was supposed to be inspired by the Scottish sunset. But anyway, yeah, this is, I think, a travel exclusive, which means it's only available in duty-free stores. And I guess it's a limited edition. The previous duty-free exclusive or travel exclusive, I talked about this in a previous video. The Amazonia gin is really good. It's very kind of tropical. Yeah, this one says limited as well, and it's been around for ages, so I don't know if they're going to have 2 travel exclusives now. Yeah, I do recommend this one. I haven't tried this one yet. I would have repurchased this because I did enjoy it, but I just didn't need to have that much like gin, basically. So yeah, so that was it for gin, and then I did also get a beauty item at duty free, if I can ever find it. All right, so I have no idea what I did with it because I did apply it earlier But I think I have to like excavate this mess that I've created. But I did get the new Chanel cream bronzer, whatever they're calling it now, Le Beige Tan Chanel, whatever it is. So I got the new lightest shade, and I did pop a picture comparing it to the older one, which I did find right here on my Instagram. So I'm sure I'll talk about that in the future. But yeah, that is what I'm wearing on my face now. I think it does what I wanted the light medium shade of the Makeup by Mario to do, which didn't quite give me what I wanted. So there's that. I'll talk about it more, I guess, in a future video. Just to touch on the Jones Road as well. It's not as emollient as I thought it would be. So I didn't set my face, which I normally would. So there's just some initial thoughts in case you were wondering. But anyway, I really need to close out this video. It's going to be a beast to edit. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions down below. I'd be happy to try my best to answer anything you have, any questions you have about traveling to the UK, as far as London and Scotland go anyway. And until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right, of course I find it as soon as I start cleaning up. This is the Soleil Tan Light Bronze, and this was the Soleil Tan Bronze 390. So the box and everything looks very similar, and the outer packaging, and that is what the Soleil Tan Bronze looks like, and the light bronze. So much better for my skin tone, obviously. So anyway, I hope that was helpful.